and crypto is not going to let anyone control the interfaces to the same extent because it's all about creating these open base layers. Existing institutions have less opportunities to exercise control, especially in ways that abuse people.
There's so much going on, as we've just talked about. I mean, the whole space has exploded in depth, not only in the number of different protocols, but the use cases of everything as well. So how should a country like Singapore or any country think through a revolution that's happening this fast? Because it's a bit unsettling for countries, let alone companies. How should they think it through?
Sure. So I think there's a couple of different angles to think it through from. I mean, one angle is just like how to be supportive of good projects that are trying to make all of this happen locally, right? And like I think Singapore is in a potentially good position to do a lot of that. Like it's already a financial hub. It's already a legal registration hub. So if people end up wanting to do projects that involve like either like say NFTs that are backed by some kind of legal property rights, then basing them in Singapore might be a great choice for people to do. And if people start doing that, then there's the question for the Singapore government of like what can they do to make it easier for people to do those kinds of things. So that's one possible angle. So like for those crypto projects that do incorporate some form of institutional trust, like how it can better serve as the trust anchor. The second project way to look at it is, of course, looking at it from the kind of user side and like looking at it from the point of view of, well, what are specific applications that could be valuable and could make a lot of sense. Like, might there be like use cases for say, NFTs or like some DAOs or something for fractionalized real estate ownership inside of Singapore? Might there be use cases like use cases for like people, like say like local artists that might want to use NFTs as a way of getting revenue, possibly like DAOs that might be funding like art or cultural works of different kinds. So just to look at it kind of application by application and see what's worth doing. I think those are probably the two kind of biggest things to focus on, and like basically just try to see like what are the interesting things that can be done, like what are the best ways to maximize the upsides of that, what are the best ways to minimize the downsides of that. In general, I'm optimistic that there are lots of things that can be done.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the crypto space tends to be anti-establishment, but there is these two spaces, the government space and the crypto space, are going to bump up against each other, and central bank digital currencies and building out new financial systems. We all have to kind of talk to each other and write a new set of rules to make sure that we can all operate, because it kind of plays for everybody's favor, but it's difficult in some countries because the US we're still using laws from 1934, which make it tricky. And we kind of need to get to the situation where we've got a set of an open set of rules that allow us to adapt and change, because it's so fast developing.
Absolutely, yeah. No, and I think the crypto space is a big space, right? And I think there's a lot of people with a lot of different visions, and I think there's room for all of those visions in the space. And like it's, and even kind of to the extent that it is kind of anti-establishment, like it doesn't even necessarily need to be about like getting rid of the establishment completely. It's I think another kind of possible angle to look at that is it's about creating a kind of more fair ways for people to interact with existing institutions. And yes, ways where existing institutions have less opportunities to exercise control, especially in ways that abuse people, but at the same time, of ways where they can still kind of provide important services, ways where it's easier for new institutions to break, or existing institutions to break into markets where there's currently incumbents that have a kind of very strong seat in the middle because they control the interfaces. And crypto is not going to let anyone control the interfaces to the same extent because it's all about creating these open base layers. So no, I think in general there's lots of opportunities for all of both institutional and non-institutional actors trying to compete with the institutions to participate.